Okay, this is everything that I had in them, and this is basically everything that I'm carrying. So, to sleep on, I have a blanket instead of a sleeping bag. My sleeping bag got ruined, um, which is a shame, but basically, the only advice I have about that is if you get a male cat, get it neutered as soon as possible because he got my sleeping bag, and you can't get that smell out. So anyway, we took him to the vet, and he may have won the battle, but let's just say I won the war. So anyway, I got to use a blanket for this trip. I'm gonna buy a nice lightweight down sleeping bag really soon though, but it's gonna be maybe in the 50s next the next few days when I plan on going. So it should be okay. And this doesn't weigh too much, about the same as a sleeping bag would weigh. I've got a canister of fuel. The stove I've got, it's in the mail. I had a Coleman, but it was old and it had been stored outside and in my shed, and it was just crappy. So decided to replace it with one of the cheap Pocket Rocket knockoffs. So we'll see how that works out. I've had several sets of these dishes before, all different kind, and they usually, after I use them so many times, they get soot from cooking on an open fire and they get nasty, and I usually just buy a new set. But when you buy one of these sets, what I recommend is just take out everything that you don't need. You only need one pot or pan that you can cook out of and eat out of, and that's basically it. That's less to wash, less to carry, less weight. I left the plastic cup in there because I love coffee, and I didn't think drinking coffee out of one of my water bottles was going to be very fun. So this doesn't weigh too much, so I'm gonna take it. I've got a small towel, terry cloth. The microfiber towels, what little bit I've used them, they don't soak up that much water. I don't really like the way they feel. I may change my mind about it, but no more than this weighs. This isn't a full size towel, but I think I can get by for one night. So, um, my two smartphones and my Samsung Level U headphones. I mean, definitely like to ride with music. Love to listen to audiobooks, podcasts, all that stuff. So, uh, a carabiner, or as I work in the oil fields, we usually call it a D hook, but definitely really good for all sorts of things. I mean, you thousand uses for one of those, and doesn't weigh that much. It's one of those items that I'm taking just in case, even though I probably won't find a use for it. Since I have two smartphones, a Android and an iPhone, is one that happens to be my work phone, so I have to take two different cell phone chargers, and there's the USB charging brick for that. This is the charger for my front light. This is one reason why I may get one of the more expensive USB rechargeable front lights in the future. That some of those things, the really bright ones, are over $100, but at least I wouldn't have to carry a separate charger, which that doesn't weigh much, so it's gonna be okay for one night. But this is sunscreen I've got in these bags because a big bottle of sunscreen, I mean, it weighs like a pound. So this is a couple doses, and I've got it double bagged, so that should do me for sunscreen. This really should go over here with my cooking stuff. It's just a plastic spoon, obviously. I can stir and should be able to use it as a spatula. I've used them for that before, and you can actually wash it, so it's perfectly fine for one night and very light. You could take a handful of plastic spoons, and it would still weigh less than what one metal spoon would weigh. So it's the way to go, in my opinion. Electrical tape, love electrical tape. 1,001 uses. Most of the roll's gone. That makes it a little bit lighter. Um, it's just as waterproof as duct tape, and I like it because it comes in a small roll, makes it lighter. And unlike duct tape, if you had to use this to make an electrical connection, which I don't recommend, I'm a big fan of soldering wires. That's neither here nor there. Um, it's not conductive like duct tape, and it can be used as a bandage in an emergency. Uh, and this is the other part of my first aid. I have Benadryl and ibuprofen in this Ziploc bag. ibuprofen because just in case I get any aches or pains, and Benadryl because I'm allergic to bees and wasps and stuff, and so I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. This is a little piece of a bar of soap. It's the smallest, lightest thing I could find, and it should work fine. I think I could do my dishes with that too, or my dish. Oh, well, I guess the spoon, but too. But I think in the future I'm gonna try to take some OxiClean because I feel like I could do the dishes, I could do my laundry, and maybe even wash my body with that. I don't think I really want to wash myself with OxiClean. It would work, and it would be the lightest, simplest way to do all that. So I think if I ever go for more, well, I'm probably going to go for more than one night, undoubtedly, but this will work for now. And if it's not really the best for doing my dishes, I'll wash them with boiling hot water, and then I'll be headed home the next morning anyway, so I could wash them properly. Shop towels, or disposable shop towels, I mean, very definitely come in handy for all sorts of things. Wash your hands, you can clean your chain, or do your dishes, or wash your body, or just whatever. So very, very good. Coffee, I've got a Ziploc bag full of pre-ground coffee. I love coffee, and in cycling, a lot of times I'm bad to stop at coffee shops and stuff. That's just something I like. This is not instant coffee, and I really don't prefer instant coffee, and I don't need I don't need any special equipment to make coffee without instant coffee. I know how to make that work, and I might actually do a video on that one day because I've heard a lot of people complain about taking instant coffee backpacking and on cycle tours because they have no way to use regular coffee. So I might do a video and show how to do that sometime. Let's see, toothbrush and toothpaste. I haven't cut the end off of the toothbrush. I guess I could do that. I might. This is enough toothpaste for a couple times a day. Really, if you stretched it, probably 4 or 5 days. But I'm not going to try to make that any lighter than it already is. I mean, that's going to be fine. I've got an Allen set for my tools, and I put this in here to at least simulate the weight, but I'm probably going to have something different. I don't know if I'll have it all done in time for my tour, but I'm working on a toolkit that weighs basically a half to 3/4 of what a 17 or 18 function multi-tool does, but it does more things. And it's something that I'm working on devising, and I don't have everything yet to do that, but I think a set of good hex keys like this would get you through for most of the basic stuff you would need to do on your bike. If you were just going to be gone for one day, I don't think you'd really want to get into really taking a lot of extra stuff. I mean, you know, like cables and derailleurs and derailleur hangers and things like that, and extra chains. I mean, an extra chain link or something would be really great, I think. But I think this will be okay for one night. I'm going to be pretty close to civilization, and I'm going to be able to call somebody for help if something goes wrong. So I'm not too worried. I mean, I do believe in Murphy's Law, and I did used to work as an auto mechanic, so I know things will break when you least expect them, but you got to match your plan to according to what you're doing. I mean, if you try to plan for every absolute thing, you could have 100 pounds on the bike, and even though I've never cycled her before, I know you could do that and still not have everything. So, tire levers. I'm only taking one tube because I've got a glueless patch kit. So if I get a flat, I'll just have to start using patches, and I'm going by, like, you know, Kmart, Walmart, even really a bike shop too, so I can always pick up an extra tube there if I have to. Pocket knife. I'm gonna try to find like a single bladed that's a little bit lighter eventually, but this'll work for now. It's what I found handy laying around the house. A lighter. I'm gonna probably replace this with a mini Bic, but this is again just one that I had laying around the house, so it'll work for now. This is I've heard it called a P38. military style can opener. You can get these at an Army surplus store. I imagine you can probably get them on Amazon now for a couple of bucks. Very handy, great way to open cans, and doesn't weigh much of anything. And they make kind of two different ones. This is the larger one. I guess you'd call it the officer's model. There's an even smaller one. I guess it's like the enlisted men version. So, but this is the bigger one, and I keep it on my keychain all the time. And I've used this no telling how many times I've been somewhere and had to open a can. So definitely handy to just carry every day, but also definitely something that I'd want to take on a cycle tour. My inhaler, that's because I have asthma, and I hardly ever have an asthma attack, but I sure would hate to not have it if I needed it. For my clothing, I thought this out a long time because clothing can get heavy quick if you're not careful. And I wanted something that I could wear more casual, but I also like things that have kind of dual purpose. And these windbreakers kind of fit the bill for that. I'm a 90s child, and so I just like windbreakers anyway. But these are basically waterproof, and I could cycle in them if I had to also. You can see I've got the pants and the jacket with the hood, so they'll keep me warm if something bad happens that I'm not planning for. I could sleep in them. I could wear them into a restaurant or around the campsite if I want to, and not just completely look like a cycler. Not that that's a bad thing. My helmet and gloves, that's sort of obvious, and I've got a mirror on my helmet because I just like that. A pair of boxers, and then I've got an underlayer, top and bottom. I'm a big believer in underlayers. I've had to work in cold weather a lot, and underlayers are just that's the best thing in the world to keep you warm, especially some of these newer microfiber ones. I mean, you don't really want like your grandpa's style with the cotton or whatever, the white rough feeling kind. Those, they just don't work as good as these do. And I've had some, but these thin, light microfiber underlayers, very good. I mean, I can put them on if I have to. I could put the bottoms on under my cycling shorts, so I don't need to bring cycling pants or leg warmers, and then I can sleep in these if I need to, and things. In the top I can put on under my jersey if it gets cold, and I can take it off later. So I just love those. So that's basically everything. As I said, I'm not showing you any food. I'll show that here in just a second. What little bit I'm going to be leaving the house with, which is not much, because I'm going to buy food as I get closer to my destination. Okay, here's some of the food, or this is really all the food I'm going to be taking. Most of it is just snacks for during the ride, because I don't mind stopping in a store in the evening to get what I want for dinner, but I don't want to really have to stop and buy a snack every time I'm hungry. That's a pain, and it gets expensive too. So this is powdered Gatorade mix in a Ziploc bag, and I actually take this on some of my longer cycling day trips anyway. I just fill a Ziploc bag with some powdered Gatorade, and if I need Gatorade, I can just add this to my water bottle, so I don't have to buy a thing of Gatorade. Especially because a lot of times I just want like a little bit of Gatorade, so I don't want to buy a huge bottle and then have to down it, even though I didn't really want the whole thing. So, and this is definitely more economical because you can buy one of those large containers that makes like 6.5 gallons and then just dose this out. So I'm taking one orange. I mean, fruit's heavy, but I just can't imagine going a day without eating fruit anymore. It's just become such a part of my lifestyle, really. I never eat junk food anymore, ever, except basically when I'm cycling, I crave the sugar that's in it. But because I've lost all this weight, I just kind of changed the way I eat. So, Kit Kat bars, I mean, I don't really have a preference when it comes to candy bars. That's just what I grabbed. I got one bite-sized Snickers that I had laying around. These are just some off-brand. These are granola bars and some Nutri-Grain bars. I like these. These are some of the cheapest, best snacks for cycling, in my opinion, because you can buy these store brands really cheap. I mean, you get like 32 of them for $4, and a lot of times they'll have oats and nuts and things in there that you'll find in some of the more expensive snacks. So I think they're great. Can of Vienna sausages, just because I don't know, I really like them. And sometimes when you're cycling, you just feel like you need some more protein, and this is kind of heavy, so I'll probably try to eat this kind of first just to get rid of some of the weight. Um, Pack of ramen noodles. I probably won't really need that in the evening. And I guess I could buy a pack of ramen noodles at the store. I guess you could buy one single pack, but they're so light and I already had them, so why not, right? A Cliff Bar. At $1 a piece, I think they're kind of pricey for what they are, but they do seem to be pretty filling and they do seem to give you a lot of energy, so I bought one. Um, Oatmeal. I normally buy just, I'm kind of boring. I normally buy just a big giant can of oatmeal, and then I'll add, if I want something added to it, I'll add ginger, cinnamon, brown sugar, whatever in the mornings. But for this cycling trip, I thought, hey, I'm going to buy a few packs of oatmeal, or buy a box of instant oatmeal, and then whatever's left I can just eat for breakfast. So I've got a few packs. I'll probably have, if I'm hungry after dinner later or something that night, I might have a pack of oatmeal for a bedtime snack, or I'll most likely have a package with my breakfast. I was looking in the store for my breakfast. I thought about powdered eggs. I'm not really a big breakfast eater at all, but I like breakfast at the campsite, and I thought, oh, that would, powdered eggs would be a nice way, because obviously I won't have a way to refrigerate anything. Thought that'd be a nice way to have a good breakfast, but they didn't have powdered eggs at the store I went to. Guess I could order some online, but I'll try to find something else that's decent for breakfast that doesn't have to be refrigerated, that doesn't weigh a lot. So I don't know what that's going to be yet, because I don't think I just want to have a package of oatmeal. If I'm going to really cook myself a breakfast, I might as well have something good. So, but yeah, that's all the food that I'm going to be um, starting out with, and I don't obviously expect to eat probably all this, but I'd rather have it. It's especially, as I said, I've weighed everything and I feel fairly comfortable about taking this much. And as the day wears on, I'll be constantly lightening my load. And as I said, I'll start eating the heavier stuff. Well, the fruit and the Vienna sausages will probably be the first thing to go. So by the time I get halfway through my ride, some of this will be gone. So, but if any of you guys have any tips for me on how to save weight when it comes to food or things that you eat when you're cycling, or if you have any advice or tips or questions that, which I don't know a lot about this, but if I can help you, I certainly will. Um, I'd love to hear it. Leave me a comment or send me a message or something like that. So anyway, I hope to see some of y'all out there on the roads, and may the wind always be at your back.